Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your boy SimplyFoodByTy, and yes, today is the day. Your boy is about to teach you how to make buttermilk butter pecan cinnamon rolls. Yes, you heard me right. I said buttermilk butter pecan. Cinnamon rolls. I bet you this much. If you make this recipe the exact way I tell you how to, I bet you'll never go spend another dollar at Cinnabon again. Okay? So let's jump right onto this video. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start adding in our softened butter. Now, this is 1/3 of a cup of unsalted butter, and you do want to make sure that it's at room temperature. Pretty much the butter, the eggs, you want to have at room temperature. It just makes it far easier when it comes to the baking process. And we're going to be also adding in 2 large eggs. Going to crack those bad boys open and plop those in there. And the next thing we're going to add in, of course, is one of the stars of this is that buttermilk. You're going to let that cream up just for a few moments. You don't have to do anything too special with it. I just let that run for about a minute or so. Now we're going to be adding in 1 1/4 cup of warm buttermilk, okay? Warm enough that your finger can touch it. Think like a baby's bottle so that we can get this yeast active, okay? You're going to add in 1 packet of yeast. And then we're going to go ahead and turn our stand mixer on low. Don't know why I had that on that high. And we're going to start adding in our dry mixture. Now, what we're adding in right now, in a separate bowl, I had 4 1/2 cups of all-purpose flour, and then I had 1 1/2 teaspoons of salt mixed together in the flour. And now we're going to be adding that in little by little. Now, it's very, very important, okay? It's very, very important that you add it in little by little. Don't rush this process because it is 4 1/2 cups of flour, okay? So you really wanna make sure that your dough is gonna come out nice and smooth. And one of the ways to make sure that that's gonna happen is by adding in the flour little by little. As far as the flour itself, I actually did this with regular old, I think it's called gold medal or gold medallion, something like that. I use regular old all-purpose flour. I didn't use anything fancy because I wanted to see if that would work, and these turned out absolutely fabulous. So that means you don't have to use any fancy flour of any kind. Now, once I have all of this flour and the salt mixture in this, what I'm going to do is once I see that it's not, once I see that it's pretty much starting to pull away from the sides, I'm gonna take off this paddle, and then I'm gonna switch on my dough hook. So that way it can start to knead. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let this knead for, I would say, about 6 to 7 minutes. Now, this entire recipe you can absolutely do by hand. If you're going to be doing by hand, you will need to knead it for at least about 10 to 11 minutes until the dough is nice and smooth, okay? Nice and smooth. So once I have this done, you can take it out, and then we're gonna put some oil on it, you know, the whole shebang. This dough is extremely easy to work with. You don't have to worry about it sticking or, you know, making a mess. It's very, very easy to work with. I added in, I would say, about a tablespoon, you know, table half. Make sure you're using vegetable oil, not olive oil. Always, okay? Always using vegetable oil. Give it a little toss around just to make sure that this dough does not dry out. And then you're gonna wrap that up in cling wrap, put a towel over it, set that to the side and let that rise for about 2 hours, depending upon how warm your house is. Now let's work on the filling. Now this is a 6 1/2 ounce container of the Land O'Lakes honey butter. That is one of my secret ingredients to making this recipe so bomb. You're gonna use that entire container of that butter. To that, you're gonna add 1 1/2 cups of light brown sugar, a 1/2 cup of chipped pecans, and then we're gonna add in 2 1/2 tablespoons of cinnamon. Now, if you really enjoy that like pungent cinnamon taste, feel free to add more cinnamon. And if you really, really like pecans, you can add more. But to be honest with you, I actually do think that a 1/2 cup is all you need. As you can see, it'll get nice and creamy, just giving it a little whisk. The warmer everything is, the easier it'll be to whisk it. So, you know, have the butter and everything at room temperature. You can set that to the side for now. Now, as you can see, it's been about 2 1/2 hours it took for mine to almost double in size. And now we're just gonna put that right on the counter. We're gonna add just a tiny bit of flour. Once again, this dough is really easy to work with, so you don't have to worry about putting too much flour. Now, to make sure I'm getting all the air out, I just fold it over about 3 or 4 times, and that's really about it. You're not kneading it or doing nothing like that. This is just to make sure we're getting the air out. Now, I'm going to be rolling this out. Make sure, of course, your rolling pin is, you know, nicely floured. But once again, you don't have to go too crazy. Now, I don't really know. I don't be getting measuring utensils out and measuring the dimensions and blah, blah, blah. all I can tell you is that y'all can see pretty much how wide I am rolling this thing out. What I will say is that I prefer mine to be on the thicker side than on the paper thin side, because I do not like for my cinnamon rolls to break, okay? So just keep that in mind. Now, this mixture might seem as if it's not going to be enough, but trust me, it's absolutely enough. You definitely want to make sure, once again, that you are taking your time though, because you do not want to put any puncture holes inside of your dough. So really take your time with this and just, make sure you're spreading it out, and make sure you're spreading it out all the way to the ends. That's very important. That's how you see the beautiful cinnamon and the sugar and all of that, if it's on the very, very ends, or at least as far as you can possibly get it. Now, as you can see, we've gotten that all rolled out nicely. Now, I'm going to be rolling mine from left to right, and I'm going to tell you the reason why I'm doing that. I'm only going to be serving about 5 or 6 people. So by me rolling it this way, I will end up getting about 5 or 6 pretty big Cinnabons. Now, if you want to serve, I would say anywhere between 10 or 11, then what you should do is roll it from the top of the screen and roll it down to the bottom of the screen. You get what I'm saying? Roll it the opposite direction, because then you'll get way more. There'll be a little bit on the smaller side, but you'll get way more out of it. I'm not serving that many people, and I definitely don't want that many Cinnabons in my house, so that's why I'm rolling it from left to right. As you can see, I'm just simply tucking it. It's not sticking. We have no issues. Like I said, this dough is really, really easy to work with. You can go on ahead and have your oven preheated at 350 degrees, because what you're going to do is once we slice these up, you're going to put it inside of your cast iron skillet. Pretty much by the time your oven has preheated, these will probably double in size once again. Now, as you can see, I'm cutting these in a pretty decent size, y'all. These ain't gonna be no, rinky-dink Cinnabons. These are gonna be pretty big. Once again, if you roll it the opposite way, of course, you're gonna wanna get yourself, of course, a bigger baking dish. And even honestly, if you don't wanna have to stress about any type of spillage, you do not have to cook it in a cast iron skillet. That's just the way I prefer to do it, but they turn out just as fabulous in any other deep baking dish. That's completely fine. I did put just a tinge of oil in the bottom of that cast iron skillet, just of course to make sure that there's no sticking or nothing like that. But like I said, y'all can see that these are gonna be pretty big Cinnabons. And honestly, once I put the towel over this and let them just sit out on the counter for like an additional 10 minutes, they're actually gonna double in size, and you'll see that in a few moments. Yeah, how's everybody doing? I hope everybody's been having a blessed day. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope y'all try out this recipe, because once again, I'm trying to tell you, you are going to love me if you do. I can promise you that. Baby, when I took these things out of I promise you, it smelled like I was in a mall and Cinnabon was in my kitchen. Like, no lie, no exaggeration. That's how good they are. But anyway, okay, so now we're getting the last one in. And like I said, what we're going to do is we're going to just put a towel over the top of these. You don't need to put cling wrap or none of that type of stuff. Just let it sit on the counter for about 5 minutes or so. And then what's going to happen is they're going to double in size. Once they do, pop them in the oven for about 30 to 40 minutes. Keep a close eye on them. Once they're golden brown, take them out. Let's work on the icing, which is really, really basic and simple, but delicious. It's an 8-ounce block of cream cheese that's been at room temperature. And we're going to add in roughly about 2 to 2.5 cups of powdered sugar. That's it. That's really, really it. Like, there's not much that goes into making the icing. It will depend on how thick or how loose you want yours to be. Will be about how much powdered sugar. As you can see, I like mine very creamy and more on the thicker side. So I add about 2.5 cups. Now, oh my God, Jesus, I know damn well y'all see how good them damn things look. I haven't even put, oh my God. The icing looks bomb. The cinnamon rolls look bomb. They are huge. I'm telling you, you'll thank me later. I can promise you that much. Now, you definitely want to make sure that you let those cinnamon rolls sit on the counter for about 5 or 10 minutes or so before you start to ice them. Because if you put that icing on as soon as they come out of the oven, they're going to end up ripping up the Cinnabons because they're going to be way too soft. You don't have to worry about the icing getting too hard or too thick. Everything should be at room temperature anyway, so this icing will spread on really, really smooth, so you won't have to worry about that. But you guys, that's it. That's the recipe. Keep on spreading on as much damn icing as you want. If you got some extra pecans left, sprinkle a few of those on the top as well, which makes for beautiful presentation. If you're feeling really, really fancy, you can toast the pecans, but that's about it, you guys. Look, if you are new to my channel, welcome to Simply Food by TY. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I do hope that y'all decide to come back. If you're one of my returning subscribers, well, y'all babies know I love y'all so much. And as always, y'all babies stay cute and take care. Now let's just sit in silence together for the rest of the video. Bye.
Slaying in the kitchen.
Simply Food by TY.
We hope that you enjoyed it.
Simply Food by TY. If you haven't took the time, make sure you subscribe. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching Simply Food.